How do you feel about being friends with your ex-husband, ex-boyfriends, just exes in your lives? I'm a
Jessica's the
huge
queen of it.
proponent.
She's
I
the
collect
queen.
exes.
She literally does. I don't know how she does it, but that she keeps them around.
I do keep
like for
them
a long
around.
time.
Yeah, I do. I have the philosophy.
Well,
for
tell them about the
myself-
term you coined.
Right, being friends with the exes and the outlaws.
Yeah.
Because my former in-laws are no longer my in-laws, right? Because now they're on the outs. So I call them the outlaws.
I love it.
So yeah, we have to popularize that phrase, the outlaws.
By the
And
way, we're in New York City.
City.
So enjoy the ambience,
This is
ambient
what
sounds.
happens. That's right. Yeah. Exactly. So for me, and everybody lives differently, but I have something inside me where let me just take a step back. I actually feel like the overwhelming majority of men that have been in my life that I've dated and or married are actually good men and have redeeming qualities about them. And so I don't feel like just because things didn't work out between us has to mean that there has to be like a negative or bad ending. And so I feel like I've been lucky enough in my life that I am friendly with most of them, definitely close with both of my ex-husbands.
Yeah.
And I'm still in contact with people that I've dated in the past.
Well, hold on. Close with both ex-husbands to the point that her second ex-husband decided to get a dog right after they broke up. And that dog literally, I feel like, spends 50% of her life in this house.
I'm obsessed
and
with this dog. I
always
dog
takes the dog. And by the way, every time the dog's here, the dog has diarrhea.
Not
the dog's sick.
Time.
Plenty of time.
It's true.
And I
am the resident
taking
dog
the dog
sitter.
back.
Yeah.
It's like unbelievable.
It's almost like we're
she
sharing custody with the dog. But beyond that, look, I'm friends with both of my exes to the point where I got a used Peloton bike several months ago.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were going to say.
From Brooklyn. and my first husband has a huge SUV and was willing to drive me into Brooklyn and to help with the transfer of that Peloton bike. And now this weekend, I have a huge box of something that needs to be transported in my living room, and I'm going to be out of town. And my second husband is going to be picking up this box and bringing it uptown on his own to somebody else. So,
and her first ex-husband,
friends with them.
Well, she gets benefits. She gets a car. Generally, when she needs to use a car.
I don't want anyone to misunderstand. My first husband allows me to use his car if it's available and he's not using it, and I take advantage of it. The way you said she gets a car.
Oh no. Okay, fine.
I got a car.
But
I didn't.
That doesn't happen with everybody.
Look, that aside, the truth is for me, it's more about the mental place where I am when it comes to my past relationships. I would rather leave money on the table, so to speak, which I did in both divorces, and maintain friendships with these men who were a hugely important part of my life, were hugely important parts of my children's lives, and whom I still like for the reasons that I liked them before. And that's the life that helps me have peace. That there certainly is someone in my life that I've dated who was questioning whether or not you can be friends with exes as I was breaking up with him. And I was saying, you don't have to. I understand that some people think it's weird, but if you're open to it, I think that we can still stay in touch. And then the whole thing blew up. He was a total dick in the end. And he definitely blocked us from ever being able to be friendly.
Right.
But for me, it does bring a sense of peace in my life to know that I have people that I can count on, that can count on me, that I still love in my own way, even though they're not like my significant other.
I think it's interesting how you pick the people you want to keep around and you don't want to keep around. Like my ex-husband and I, we handle business. Okay. So that's that. I'm leaving it at that. But I was in 2 serious relationships before the relationship I'm in now. And I honestly stay in touch more with the first guy I was in a relationship with, because maybe it's because I learned so much in that relationship with him that I feel like, he didn't drain me. He didn't anything. He definitely added to my life. He just wasn't the right guy for me. And I ended it pretty abruptly. I think it was right after your birthday.
Okay,
One of your birthdays. But it's
fair.
so interesting. But then I was in a relationship with someone else for like 5 years. And I absolutely don't want to have a relationship with him. I don't even, it's just interesting when you come out of your divorce, how I know for me anyway, if I grew from that relationship, then I want that person around me.
Right.
If I didn't grow and it was like fucking annoying, then I don't want that person around me. So they almost like became toxic, not always in a mean way. The other guy definitely wasn't the right guy for me either, but he's a super nice guy. If you meet him, he's not a
Right,
jerk. He just
right.
100% wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And because he didn't help me grow, I don't really care. So maybe I'm being selfish, but I feel like you keep your exes around who have enhanced your life, who you've grown with and you've
Right.
learned from, and you feel like you've benefited from that relationship in some way. But you have another relationship that you were in that you did not maintain.
That's right.
And that was a very serious relationship. And that guy's gonzo. So it's
but
very
that
interesting.
also ended in the end a little,
It
that
was
ended
bad.
a little ugly at the end. And so I think that was more why we couldn't stay in touch. That
Well, you
relationship
could
was,
have, but you
I
chose not
couldn't,
to.
yeah, but I couldn't in the
Right.
end. But
Right.
look, I think it's very understandable when getting divorced that people aren't able to maintain a close friendship with the person that they've divorced. Sometimes that, that intimacy and closeness that you've had in your marriage, once the trust is broken and once that relationship is irreparable, I totally understand. Like, there really isn't a place to find where you can come kind of to a common ground and have that type of relationship. It was not easy for me to develop that with Darren, my first husband, after the affair, and he stayed with her. And it was a conscious choice for me to be able to take the high road. And it was all about having a vision of what I wanted my life to be years down the line, meaning like today, because it was so many years ago. My kids were 2 and 4, and now they're almost 17 and 19. And I am proud to say that my vision for what I wanted our modern family to look like at this stage is exactly what I wanted.
Well, and it's not without its challenges, because he has
Yes.
children with other women, and those children, by the way, when she said outlaws at the beginning, when she breaks bread, she goes with her outlaws, with her, outlaw entire family,
Right.
with her first husband, with all of his new children, and it's freaking kumbaya. And for me, my stomach would crawl. I'm so happy for her that that's what makes her happy. And if she gets to a point where it doesn't make her happy, I hope she just says sayonara. But she's not going to get to that place. But the first time that you broke bread with all of the outlaws and everyone could not have been easy. Hold on. But it worked because Darren made you comfortable.
That's what I was going to say. It's all
the
about
key.
what the relationship is, right?
That's
the
the key.
personality of my ex was such that he was so regretful and remorseful for the way that our marriage ended, that I do think that it was important to him also to try to figure out a way to keep me in his life. And so I think that in our own ways, we both worked really hard to be able to develop the relationship that we have now. I think that oftentimes people are in relationships, whether it's marriages or dating or whatever, where there isn't either the foundation or the reasoning behind it to feel the justification for having to keep someone in your life. Like, some of the people that I've stayed in touch with are people that I've gone on a handful of dates with.
Oh my God, she keeps bringing them around. It's unbelievable.
But I just feel like they were totally
they
nice
serve
guys.
a purpose. And now they do a little.
Using them. It's
No.
These are people that are friendly, that I've been in touch with sometimes, that I would happily set up with other great women. And so I just feel like, in life, you meet people, and if you meet people that are good people, there isn't really a reason to not keep them in your life unless it feels ugly on one side or the other, or uncomfortable. But I think the important thing for me also is that when I am dating people, it is a conversation that we have fairly early on, because when we're talking
What's
about
your
our
relationship
exes,
with your ex?
right, and I have come to understand for myself that if I'm dating someone who is uncomfortable with my relationship with either of my ex-husbands or random men that I've been on dates with who I've stayed friendly with, then that person is not the person for me, because I need someone who's secure enough with themselves and not threatened by other people in my life that I have zero romantic interest in, but have a good time hanging out with.
Right. Yeah.
So if you are, struggling with whether or not you should maintain friendships with the men in your life, the women in your life, your exes, whatever it is, let's have that conversation. How do you feel about it? Would it make you uncomfortable if you were dating someone who had a close relationship with their ex-wife,
Yeah.
or with a long-term partner? How do you feel about that? Is it okay? Is it not okay?
I think also then when you add to it, if your spouse cheated on you,
that's hard.
Then it makes it even harder. And maybe we'll have
Yes.
another conversation about whether you date somebody who cheated on their spouse.
So anyway,
stay tuned next time. I'm TH. This is
Jessica.
Jessica. You just watched Divorced Etc. on YouTube, and follow us at xexperts.com. You can email us at hello@xexperts, and we'll see you next time.